The auction asterisk, the market was loud. Voices of many aliens mixed together like a storm. Strange creatures from many worlds pushed each other, all trying to get closer to the stage. The smell of smoke, oil, and fear filled the air. Bright lights shone. On a wooden platform at the center. That was where the slaves were sold. On the stage stood a girl. She was not from any species most of the crowd had seen before. Her skin was pale, almost silver under the lights. Her hair was long, tangled, and shining faintly as if it carried light inside it. But her eyes told the truth. They were wide. With fear, she tried to cover herself, but the auctioneer did not allow it. He wanted her shame to bring laughter and higher bids. The auctioneer, a fat alien with sharp teeth, raised his hand and shouted, "Look here, a rare one, never seen in this quadrant before. Who will start the bidding?" The crowd roared. Some shouted numbers, others made jokes, laughing at the girl's weak state. She lowered her head. Her heart beat fast. Every cheer, every laugh, cut her deeper. She wanted to disappear, but there was no escape. Chains locked her wrists and ankles. Auctioneer waved his stick. "Come now, don't be shy. This one is exotic, fragile, but maybe useful. Who wants to own her?" Bids rose quickly. 10 credits. 50. 100. The voices grew louder. Aliens of all shapes lifted their hands, wanting to own her like a pet. Like a toy, to them she was not a person. She was only a thing to buy. The girl's breath shook. She closed her eyes, whispering inside, "Please, someone, help me." And then, the crowd fell silent. A figure stepped into the light. A tall man. Not alien, but human. His boots echoed on the metal floor as he walked slowly forward. The other bidders turned their heads. Whispers spread through the crowd. A human? Here? What is he doing in this market? Humans never come here. The auctioneer blinked in surprise but quickly smiled. Well, this is rare. Indeed, a human visitor in our house. Do you wish to bid, traveler? The man said nothing at first. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at the girl, standing helpless on the stage. She looked back at him, afraid yet curious. For the first time that night, she felt something different. Not cruelty, not hunger, but recognition. The auctioneer laughed nervously. "You see her? Worthless little thing. But maybe you humans like strange pets, eh? Place your bid, if you dare." The human lifted his hand. 1,000. The crowd gasped. The noise stopped for a heartbeat, then rose like thunder. 1,000? For her, he must be insane. No slave is worth that much. The auctioneer's smile froze. "Are you serious, human? 1,000 credits is far too high for something so weak. You could buy 10 slaves for that price." The man's voice was calm, but strong. "I'm not buying 10, I'm buying her." The auctioneer looked around. Anyone else? Higher bid? Silence. No one dared. The price was too much, and the human's presence was too strange. Finally, the auctioneer slammed his stick on the stage. "Sold to the human." The crowd hissed, muttering angry words, but none stepped forward. They watched as the man walked to the stage. Slowly, he removed his coat. A long dark coat that reached his knees. He climbed the steps, ignoring the auctioneer, and draped it over the girl's shoulders. For the first time that night, warmth touched her skin. She looked up at him, eyes wide. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. She had never seen kindness here. Not once, the human bent down slightly, speaking low so only she could hear. "You are safe now." The chains unlocked with a hiss as the man pressed a small device on the cuffs. The auctioneer stepped back, suddenly unsure. This human was not ordinary. His movements were too confident, too precise. The crowd shouted again. "Why save her? She's nothing." "Foolish human, she will bring you trouble." But the man ignored them. He held the girl's hand gently and helped her down the steps. Her legs shook, but he guided her carefully. Every eye in the room followed them as they walked toward the exit. The auctioneer called after him, trying to sound brave. "You'll regret this, human. She is cursed, you'll see." The man didn't turn. He didn't answer. He only led the girl out, step by step, into the darkness beyond the market doors. And behind them, whispers spread like fire. Who was this human? Why risk so much for a weak alien girl? What secret did he know? The night outside was cold. The girl pulled the coat tightly around her body. She looked at the man walking beside her. For the first time in her life, she felt a strange, new feeling. Not fear, not pain, but hope. The escape from the market. The doors of the auction hall opened with a heavy sound, and cold night air rushed inside. The human stepped out, holding the girl close. The coat still covered her, but she clutched it tightly as if it were the only shield in the universe. Behind them, the noise of the market still echoed, laughter, anger, whispers. Many eyes had watched them leave. The streets outside were no safer. The alien market spread like a maze, with narrow paths and crooked metal buildings rising on both sides. Neon lights flickered above, showing strange symbols and glowing faces of otherworldly creatures. The smell of smoke and oil still hung thick in the air. The girl's bare feet touched the cold ground. Every step hurt, but she said nothing. She only looked at the man beside her. He walked with steady steps, his eyes always moving, watching. "The shadows. Where are we going?" She whispered, her voice weak but trembling with fear. The man didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on the dark streets. "Away from here, quickly." Behind them, a sound rose. Shouts, metal boots. The guards of the auction had noticed their departure. The fat auctioneer must have called for them, angry that he lost control. "Stop them." A voice cried, "The human is stealing property." The girl's heart jumped. She pulled on the man's sleeve. "They are coming. They will catch us." The man glanced back once, then kept moving. "Not if we keep ahead." They turned a corner. The path opened into a wider street filled with merchants, buyers, and strange lights. Some aliens stopped to stare at the girl, whispering. Others looked at the human with suspicion. Humans were rare here. Too rare. The girl tightened the coat around herself. Every face looked dangerous. Every shadow seemed alive. She wanted to hide, but there was nowhere to hide. Then came the sound-heavy footsteps, armor clanging. The guards burst into the street. Their armor shone under the neon lights, and their weapons were ready. "There! The human!" One shouted. The crowd quickly moved aside, leaving space. People loved to watch a fight, but no one wanted to get caught in the middle. The human stopped walking. He looked at the guards, calm as ever. The girl's breath shook. She whispered, "Please, don't let them take me back." He glanced at her for the first time. His eyes were steady, unshaken. "Stay close." The guards rushed forward. The first swung his weapon, a long metal staff glowing at the edges. The human caught it with one hand, twisted, and slammed the guard against the wall. The sound echoed like thunder. The girl gasped. Another came from the side. The human moved fast, too fast for the eye. A strike to the neck. The guard fell. The crowd roared. Some cheered, others shouted in anger. No one dared to help the guards. The girl stared, her eyes wide. This man was no ordinary human. His movements were sharp, trained, like a soldier or something more. More guards came, 5, 6 at once. The human pulled a small device from his belt. With a single press, a flash of light burst out. The guards stumbled, blinded, covering their eyes. In that short moment, he grabbed the girl's hand. "Run," he said simply. They ran. Down the street, through the crowd, past stalls filled with glowing food and strange weapons. The girl's legs burned, but she didn't stop. The human never let go of her hand. Behind them, the guards recovered and shouted. Some chased, but the human's path was too quick, too clever. He knew the maze-like streets as if he had studied them before. They entered a darker alley. The lights above were broken. The ground was wet, covered with broken metal and old wires. The girl almost slipped, but the human caught her arm, keeping her steady. Her breath was heavy. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." The human's voice was low, steady, but held something strange. "Because you should not be sold. Not you." Before she could ask what he meant, a loud noise shook the ground. An explosion. Somewhere back in the market, fire had started. The sky lit red as smoke rose high. Screams echoed in the distance. The girl froze. What was that? The man pulled her forward again. Distraction, maybe planned. Maybe fate. Either way, it helps us. They reached a high wall at the end of the alley. For a moment, it looked like a dead end. The girl panicked. "We are trapped." The human pressed a hidden panel on the wall. With a hiss, the metal door slid open, revealing a narrow passage. He guided her inside. The door closed behind them, sealing the noise out. Now the world was silent. The passage was dark, only small lights glowing along the floor. The girl's chest rose and fell as she tried to breathe. Her whole body shook. For the first time, she let herself lean against the wall, sliding down to sit on the cold floor. She looked up at him. "You fight like no one I've ever seen," she whispered. "Who are you?" The man looked at her, his face still calm. For a long moment, he didn't answer. Then he finally said, "Someone who doesn't like chains." The girl's eyes filled with tears. She pulled the coat tighter, hiding her face. She had never heard those words before. The man crouched near her, his eyes softer now. "We can't rest yet. The ship is close, but they won't stop hunting. You must be strong." She looked up again, her voice trembling. "And if they catch us?" His answer was simple, cold, but certain. "They won't." Outside, the sound of alarms echoed across the city. Ships flew overhead, searching. Guards shouted orders, hunting them like animals. But deep in the hidden passage, the girl felt something strange. For the first time in her life, she did not feel like prey. She felt like maybe, just maybe, she could be free. The human's ship, the hidden passage stretched on, twisting like the veins of some giant creature buried underground. The girl followed the human, her bare feet tapping softly on the metal floor. The dim lights flickered, and sometimes she thought she heard whispers from the pipes in the walls. But maybe it was only her fear. The man walked ahead, steady as always. One hand on a small device at his belt, the other free but ready. He never once looked back, yet she felt he knew exactly where she was with every step. At last, the passage opened into a wide chamber. The roof above was broken, revealing a slice of the night sky and the silver stars beyond. In the center rested a ship, not like the fat cargo haulers or the rusty fighter she had seen in the market. This ship was different. Sleek, dark, its surface smooth as flowing water. It seemed alive like a shadow given shape. The girl froze at the sight. Her breath caught. "Is that yours?" she asked, her voice weak, almost afraid. The human finally turned, his eyes meeting hers. "Yes, it will take us far from here." He walked forward, and as he neared, the ship responded. Soft blue lights ran along its edges, glowing as though it recognized him. A hatch opened silently with a hiss, revealing a ramp of polished metal. The girl hesitated. Every instinct screamed caution. She had been taken before, tricked, sold. Could she trust this man? Could she trust his strange, living ship? She clutched the coat tighter and whispered, "Why should I follow you? Why should I step inside?" The human paused at the bottom of the ramp. For a long moment he did not speak. Then he said, in his calm voice, Because back there, you are a thing. Inside here, you are not. The girl's throat tightened. She looked once more at the sky above, where the glow of searchlights crossed the clouds. The guards were still hunting. If she stayed, she would be caught. Her body shook, but her legs carried her forward. Step by step, she walked up the ramp. Inside. The ship felt alive. The walls were smooth, no bolts, no cracks. Strange lines glowed faintly, flowing like rivers of light. The air was clean, almost sweet. She had never breathed air so pure. Her body relaxed without meaning to. The human pressed. A panel, and the hatch closed behind them, sealing the outside world away. For the first time since the auction, silence surrounded them. Real silence. Safe silence. The girl looked around, her wide eyes reflecting the glowing walls. What kind of ship is this? The man walked to the front, where a wide glass window stretched across the chamber. Beyond it, the stars waited. He placed his hand on a console, and the ship hummed in response. It is old, older than most worlds. But it still listens. She followed slowly, her fear mixing with wonder. It listens. To you, he gave a small nod, and now to you as well. She didn't understand. How could a ship listen to her? But she said nothing. She only hugged herself tighter and sat on a curved bench near the wall. The man moved with practiced ease, touching the console, checking glowing symbols that appeared. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp, always searching, always planning. At last he spoke. We leave. Soon, but first you must eat. From a small compartment, he brought a packet of food and a container of water. He placed them gently before her. Eat, drink, your body is weak. The girl stared at the food. Simple bread-like rations and a clear bottle of water. Her stomach twisted with hunger. She had not eaten in days, but her hands shook. Why are you giving this to me? He looked at her directly. Because you need it. Her lips trembled. In her life, no one had ever given her anything without demand, without cruelty. Slowly, she took the food. She bit into it, and tears stung her eyes. The taste was plain, but to her, it was everything. She ate quickly, drank the water, and for the first time, she felt her body warm from inside. When she finished, she wiped her mouth and whispered, "Thank you." The man only nodded. He returned to the console, pressing more symbols. The ship's engines rumbled, soft at first, then growing. The floor vibrated under her feet. Through the wide glass, the stars seemed to shift as the ship lifted from the ground. The girl gripped the bench tightly, fear and awe mixing inside her. She had never flown before. She had been trapped, sold, chained, but never free among the stars. Now the market city below grew smaller and smaller, until it was just another shadow on the world's surface. The man's voice cut through her wonder. They will come, the hunters. They will not let you go so easily. Her heart jumped. Hunters? Why would they hunt me? I am nothing. He turned, his eyes sharp now. You are not nothing. She blinked. Then, what am I? Silence filled the ship. The engines hummed, the stars glowed, but he did not answer at once. He only watched her, studying her face, her silver skin, her glowing hair. At last he said quietly, "You are more than you know, and they fear that." The girl trembled. "I don't understand." "You will," he replied simply. Then he turned back to the console. The ship broke through the clouds. Space opened around them, endless black, filled with stars, planets shining in the distance. The sight took her breath away. She pressed her face to the glass, her eyes wide with wonder. For a moment, she forgot her fear. For a moment, she felt alive. The man glanced at her, then back at the stars. His calm voice carried through the chamber. "Rest while you can. Tomorrow will not be easy." The girl turned to him, her voice small. "Will you protect me?" He looked at her again. This time, his eyes softened just slightly. Yes, but one day, you must protect yourself. She hugged the coat tighter, curling up on the bench. Her eyes grew heavy, but her heart was full of questions. Who was this man? Why did he save her? What secret was she carrying that made others hunt her? As she drifted into sleep, the ship carried them deeper into the stars. The human stood at the console, watching the endless black. His face was calm, but in his eyes burned something she could not see. Determination, and perhaps, a secret he had not yet spoken. And outside, far behind them, small lights flickered in the darkness. Ships rising, hunting, chasing. The hunt had already begun. The girl's secret, the ship moved through the stars like a shadow carried by wind. Outside, endless black stretched forever, cut only by the soft glow of distant planets. Inside, silence filled the chamber. The engines hummed, steady, like a heartbeat. The girl sat curled on the bench, her eyes half closed. She was warm for the first time in days, wrapped in the human's coat, but sleep did not come easily. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw the auction hall again, the lights, the laughter, the hands reaching for her. She trembled and opened her eyes once more. The man stood at the front, calm as ever, his hands moving across the glowing console. Strange symbols flowed under his fingers, but the ship seemed to understand him perfectly. He did not glance back at her, but somehow she felt he was aware of every sound she made, every movement. At last she whispered, her voice small, "Do you always travel alone?" The man didn't answer right away. His eyes stayed on the stars. Then he said, "Yes, until now." Her chest tightened at his words. She hugged the coat closer and looked down. For a moment, silence returned, broken only by the soft hum of the ship. Then something strange happened. Her skin burned. It was faint at first, like warmth spreading through her arm. She pulled back the sleeve of the coat and gasped. A mark was glowing on her forearm. A symbol, delicate yet powerful, shaped like a star with lines circling it. The light was soft, pale blue, but it pulsed like a heartbeat. She covered it quickly, fear racing through her chest. She thought he had not noticed, but the man's voice broke the silence. Calm, sharp, certain, "You carry it." She froze. Slowly. Her head lifted. "Carry what?" He finally turned to face her. His eyes were not angry, not afraid, but heavy with knowledge. The mark of the lost ones. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her voice shook. I don't know what it means." "You do," he said softly. "Even if you don't remember." She shook her head, trembling. "No, I was just born, taken, sold. That's all I know. I am no one." But the mark still glowed, betraying her words. The man walked closer, slow, steady. He crouched in front of her, his eyes meeting hers directly. His voice lowered, gentle but firm. "Listen to me. That mark is older than this ship, older than the empire that hunts you. It is a key." Her heart beat faster. A key to what? He studied her, as though deciding whether to tell her. At last he said, "To power, to memory, to things forgotten." Whole worlds died because of that symbol. And yet, here you are, carrying it. The girl's hands shook as she clutched the coat tighter. Tears formed in her eyes. Then why me? Why did they chain me, sell me like garbage if I carry something so powerful? The man's gaze softened. Because power feared is always caged. You were never garbage, you were danger. Her tears fell, hot against her cheeks. She looked away. Danger to who? To everyone, he said simply. Then after a pause he added, or maybe to no one. That is for you to choose. The girl's breath came in short gasps. The words struck her heart, but she did not know what to do with them. Her whole life she had been treated as less than a thing. Now this stranger told her she might hold something that made whole empires tremble. She whispered, "Broken, I don't want it. I don't want any of it." The man leaned closer. His voice was quiet, but steady as stone. "It does not matter what you want. It is already in you. The choice you have is not if you carry it. The choice is what you will do with it." Her lips trembled. She could not answer. She only stared at him, eyes filled with fear. For a long moment, he held her gaze. Then he stood, turning back toward the console. "Rest now. The hunters are still behind us. We must keep moving." But the girl did not rest. She could not. She sat, her hands pressed against the mark hidden under the coat. The glow had faded, but the warmth still lingered. She felt as if the symbol was alive, pulsing, waiting for her to remember. Her mind drifted, and with it came flashes. Not dreams, not memories, but something in between. She saw a great city of silver towers under two suns. She saw people like her, tall, graceful, their hair glowing like hers, their skin shining like silver flame. They stood proud, powerful, ruling the skies. And then, fire. Ships burning, towers falling, screams swallowed by darkness. And her own voice, younger, calling out to someone she could not see. She gasped and shook her head, forcing the images away. She pressed her face into the coat, trembling. No, 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 the man did not turn. His hands never stopped moving across the console. But his voice reached her, low and calm. "The memories will come, whether you wish them or not." She wiped her eyes, her voice broke. "Why are you helping me? If I am so dangerous, if I bring hunters and death, why not leave me behind?" At last he turned his head slightly. His voice carried a weight that made her shiver. "Because once, long ago, someone saved me when I thought I was nothing. And I learned I was more. Now it is my turn." The girl's breath caught. She stared at him, unable to speak. The ship shuddered suddenly. Lights blinked red along the walls. A sharp alarm cut the silence. The man's face hardened. He rushed back to the console. "They found us." The girl jumped to her feet, fear flooding her body. "Who? The guards?" "No," he said. His voice was firm, but his eyes were sharper now, focused like blades. "Not guards, hunters." Through the wide glass, shapes appeared in the distance. Small lights at first, then growing. Ships, dark fast, moving like wolves in space. The girl's heart raced. "They're coming for me." "Yes," he said, "and they will not stop." He pulled a lever, and the ship roared, surging forward into the black. Stars blurred as speed tore through the vessel. The girl clung to the wall, her body shaking. "Will we escape?" she asked, her voice breaking. The man glanced at her, only once, before turning back to the controls. His voice was calm, cold, but certain. "We will fight if we must." The mark on her arm glowed again, brighter this time, pulsing like a star. She stared at it in horror. The hunters drew closer, their ships forming a deadly net around them, and in that moment, she realized the truth. They were not hunting her body. They were hunting the secret inside her, the secret that was slowly waking. The hunters arrive. The ship shuddered as it raced through the black sea of stars. Engines roared, pushing its dark frame to speeds few could survive. Inside, lights flashed red along the walls, warning of danger. The girl clung to the bench, her eyes wide with fear. Out the front glass, lights grew brighter. Ships, dozens of them. Sleek, sharp, hungry. They moved together like a pack of wolves, surrounding from every side. Each one carried a mark painted on its hull, a crimson claw tearing through a star. The human's jaw tightened. "Blood Claw hunters," he muttered. The girl trembled. "Who are they?" He kept his eyes forward, his hands moving across the console. "Killers, slavers. They take what empires cannot." "And they want me?" Her voice broke. "They want what's inside you," he said coldly. The ship spread wider, forming a net of steel and fire. One larger vessel glided to the front, its size dwarfing the rest. Its dark surface glowed faintly with red lights, and a deep voice cracked through the cums, filling the cabin with thunder. "Human vessel, you have something that belongs to us. Hand over the girl, and you may live." The girl pressed back against the wall, shaking. Her glowing mark pulsed through the sleeve of the coat. She whispered, They know about me." The human's voice was calm, steady, but carried iron. "She does not belong to you." The cums laughed, a cruel, metallic sound. "Everything belongs to us. Do not fight. You are outnumbered, outgunned. Surrender, and we may give you a quick death." The girl looked at the man. His hands moved across the controls, his eyes sharp and calm. "What will you do?" she asked. He glanced at her. "Hold on." The ship roared as he pulled a lever. Instantly, the vessel dropped, diving straight. Down, the hunters fired. Bolts of red energy cut through space, missing by inches. The girl screamed as the ship twisted, spinning like a falling star. Her stomach lurched, but the human's hands were steady. He pulled the ship up just before hitting an asteroid field that loomed below. Massive stones floated, drifting in silence. The hunters followed, their weapons firing bright streams into the dark. The girl gripped the seat until her knuckles burned. "We can't escape, there are too many." The human's eyes narrowed. "Asteroids are cover, they can't surround us here." The ship darted between giant rocks, weaving like a shadow. Energy bolts exploded against stone, sending fragments spinning. The hunters chased, their ships faster, smaller, but less careful. One struck an asteroid too closely and burst into fire. The girl gasped. "They're still coming." "Of course," the human said calmly. "Hunters never stop until one side is dead." The largest ship's voice filled the cabin again. "You cannot hide. The girl is ours. Give her to us, and we will leave you a corpse the stars may honor." The girl shook her head violently. "No, don't let them take me. Please." The human did not look at her, but his words cut through her fear. "I won't." He pressed a control, and panels on the ship's sides slid open. Long, sleek cannons emerged, glowing faintly blue. The girl's breath caught. She had never seen weapons like these. "Your ship can fight?" she whispered. The man's hands tightened on the controls. "It can." The hunters fired again, red streaks tearing through the void. The human's ship responded with blinding blue light. The blast tore through 2 hunter ships at once, their wrecks scattering into the asteroids. The girl's mouth fell open. "You destroyed them." The man's eyes stayed cold. "They would have destroyed us." More hunters closed in, surrounding the asteroid field. Their leader's massive ship stayed back, waiting, watching. The smaller hunters dove in, firing together. The human's ship spun, engines screaming, cannons blazing. Explosions lit the black sky, painting fire across stone. The girl clutched her glowing arm, her body trembling. The mark pulsed harder, brighter, every time the ship shook. She felt something inside, something old and powerful, waking with each shot, each scream. The human noticed. His voice was sharp. "The mark, can you control it?" She shook her head violently. "No. I don't know what it wants." "Then hold it back," he shouted. "If it wakes fully now, they will know. They will take you alive at any cost." The girl pressed her arm tight against her chest, tears burning her eyes. "I can't." The ship jolted as another blast hit the rear. Sparks flew from the walls. Alarms screamed. The girl cried out, falling to the floor. The human leapt up from his seat, grabbing a device from the wall. "Stay here," he ordered. "Where are you going?" she cried. "To keep us alive." He ran toward the back of the ship, vanishing into the glowing corridors. The girl crawled to the console, staring at the endless swarm of hunters outside. The ship still moved, still fought, but she felt small, weak, powerless. Her arm burned again. She pulled back the sleeve. The mark glowed brighter, brighter than ever, pulsing with strange power. Her breath came fast. The memory flashes returned: silver towers, fire, screaming skies. Her people falling, their power burning them from within, and her own child voice screaming as a hand dragged her into darkness. She sobbed, clutching her arm. Why me? Why me? Then outside, the leader's massive ship began to move. It glided forward, red lights blazing. Its voice filled the cabin, cold and merciless. Enough games. Surrender the girl or burn. With her, the girl's heart froze. She pressed her forehead against the console, whispering to herself, I don't want to be danger. I don't want to bring death. But the mark pulsed, as if answering. At that moment, the human burst back into the chamber. His face was set like stone. We can't outrun them. We can't outfight them all. Her eyes filled with terror. Then, we're going to die? He crouched before her, gripping her shoulders firmly. His eyes locked on hers. Listen. To me, you are not death. You are not danger. You are choice. That mark is not a curse unless you make it one. Do you hear me? Tears rolled down her face. I can't control it. You can, he said fiercely. Because you must. The ship rocked again. Outside, the hunters closed in. The leader's vessel charged its main cannon, glowing like a red sun. The human stood, pulling her up with him. If you want to live, if you want freedom, now is the time. Call it. Command it. Make it yours. The girl's chest heaved. Her glowing mark pulsed like a living star. She raised her trembling hand toward the glass, toward the endless swarm of ships. Her voice shook, but she forced the words out. Stop. Light burst from her arm. A wave of blue energy exploded outward, filling the cabin, pouring into the void. The hunters' ships froze mid-flight, caught as if time itself held them. Engines died, weapons shut down. The giant leader's cannon flickered, then darkened. The girl collapsed, falling into the human's arms. Her body shook, drained, but her eyes glowed faintly with the mark's power. The hunters drifted powerless, their voices silent. The man looked down at her, holding her carefully. His face was calm, but his voice carried something rare: quiet. Ah, you woke it. The girl's lips trembled. Her eyes fluttered shut. I didn't mean to. You saved us, he said. Outside, the hunters floated in silence. Their once deadly fleet now broken, helpless in the endless black. But far behind, in the deep void, other lights began to stir. Watching, waiting. And not all of them were afraid. Asterisk the truth revealed. Asterisk. The silence after the battle was heavy, almost frightening. Outside the glass, dozens of hunter ships floated dead, their engines lifeless, their weapons cold. The girl's power had frozen them all in place. The void of space had never felt so quiet. Inside the ship, the girl lay slumped against the human, her body trembling. The glow on her arm faded slowly, but the warmth of it still pulsed in her blood. Her eyes fluttered open. Did I kill them? She whispered, her voice thinned out. The man shook his head. No, you silenced them, for now. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean to, I only wanted them to stop. You wanted, the human said firmly, and the mark listened. That is the truth of what you carry. The girl pressed her face into his coat, shaking. Her voice broke. What is happening to me? Why do I have this? Who am I? For a long moment, the man did not answer. He lifted her gently and laid her on the bench, then returned to the console. His hands moved across the glowing symbols, sending the ship gliding forward, away from the hunters still frozen in their silent cage. Only when they were deep into the dark again did he finally speak. His voice was calm, steady, but carried a weight that pressed against her chest. You are the last child of the Illyrians. The girl blinked. The word was strange, unfamiliar, yet it rang inside her like a bell. Illyrians? He turned, his eyes sharp, a race older than most empires. Silver-skinned, light-haired rulers of the twin sons of Ardanes. Their power was not ships, not weapons, but blood. They carried within them codes written by stars themselves. And you carry that same code. Her breath caught. Blood. Stars. I don't understand. He stepped closer, crouching in front of her. That mark on your arm is no decoration. It is a living key, tied to your bloodline. Long ago, Illyrians created machines that could command worlds, cities that moved like ships, weapons that could silence suns. But they locked those machines, fearing them. Only those of the bloodline could open them again. The girl's stomach twisted. She shook her head. No, that can't be me. I am no one. I was chained, sold like trash. How could I be part of that? The man's eyes did not leave hers. Because that is how the galaxy hides what it fears. If empires knew you lived, they would fight to own you. If hunters knew you lived, they would tear worlds apart to sell you. And so, they made you believe you are nothing. Her tears burned her cheeks. Then my people, the Illyrians, where are they now? The man's voice lowered, heavy with shadow. Dead, their towers burned, their suns darkened. There, fleets scattered to dust. The last war erased them from the stars. The girl gasped, covering her mouth. Her chest hurt as though something inside broke. She saw the flashes again in her mind, silver towers collapsing, voices crying, fire devouring the skies, and her own voice calling for someone she could not see. She shook her head violently. No, they can't all be gone. The man placed a hand gently on her shoulder. His eyes softened, for once carrying a faint trace of sorrow. They are gone. But you remain. Her body trembled. She looked up at him, her voice small and broken. Why me? Why only me? His answer was quiet. Because someone chose you to live. She froze. Chose me? He nodded slowly. Before the fall, the Illyrians knew they could not win. Some tried to fight, some tried to hide. But one sent you away. A child, a key, a hope. That is why you survived. The girl's tears fell freely. She clutched her chest, whispering, I remember. A hand, someone's hand pulling me, telling me to run. But I never saw their face. Her voice broke into sobs. The human let her cry, silent, watching her as if guarding something fragile. At last, when her tears slowed, he spoke again. The hunters know part of this truth. That is why they chase you, but others, greater powers, they also watch. They wait. They know that if you awaken the machines, the galaxy itself will change. The girl looked up through her tears, her lips trembling. And you, why do you care? Why save me? Why risk so much? For the first time, his calm face shifted. His eyes grew distant, as if staring at something far beyond the walls of the ship. Because I saw what your kind built, he said softly. Long ago, I was a soldier. I fought in the shadows of dead Illyrian cities. I walked among ruins that still breathed with power, even after centuries. I saw a single Illyrian artifact silence an entire fleet of warships. And I saw the fear it carved into men's hearts. He looked back at her, his voice steady. I knew then that if any blood of Illyria survived, they would either be destroyed or enslaved. Unless someone stood beside them, her breath caught. So you saved me. Because of what I can do. He shook his head. His voice grew sharper. No, I saved you because you should not be chained. No one should, but yes, his eyes narrowed. I also know what you are, and I know what is coming. The girl hugged herself tightly. And what is coming? The man's voice lowered to almost a whisper. War, greater than any before. Empires will rise and burn for the key you carry. The hunters are only the first. Soon, governments, syndicates, warlords all will want you, to use you, to break you, to control you. Unless you choose first, her heart pounded. Choose what? Choose what to be, he said firmly. A weapon? A ruler? Or something new? Your people are gone, but their legacy is in you. That cannot be erased. The question is, will you run from it, or will you face it? The girl's tears dried slowly. She stared at her glowing arm, the mark pulsing faintly, alive. For the first time, she did not see it only as a curse. It was heavy, terrifying, but it was hers. Her voice was weak but steadier. I don't know if I'm strong enough. The man stood, his shadow falling over her. His voice was iron. Strength is not given. It is made, and you will make it. If you survive. She swallowed hard, fear still inside her, but something else too. A spark, a whisper of fire. Silence filled the cabin once more, until the ship's console beeped sharply. A new light flashed. The man turned, his eyes narrowing. What is it? The girl asked quickly. He pressed the panel. A map unfolded across the glass, a star chart glowing with lines and marks. One system pulsed brighter than the rest. A cluster of ruins under a dead sun. Illyrian ruins, he said. Intact. Buried deep, that is where we go. The girl's breath caught. Her chest tightened. Ruins of my people? He nodded. There, answers wait, but danger too. Her hand shook as she reached out, touching the glass where the glowing system pulsed. Then I will go. I need to know. Even if it hurts. The man glanced at her, his eyes unreadable. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then, softly he said, Then you are already stronger than you think. Outside, the ship turned, its engines burning bright as it cut through the black, aimed toward the dead sun and the ruins of a lost world. But far across the galaxy, in unbreakable and the dead sun and the ruins of a lost world. But far across the galaxy, in this ward that far across the galaxy, in palaces and war rooms, signals had already been sent. Others knew the mark had awakened. Empires stirred, warlords sharpened their blades, and shadows whispered of the last Illyrian child. The truth was revealed. The hunt was only beginning. The final choice asterisk. The ship glided through the endless black, carrying its 2 passengers toward a dead sun. The closer they came, the darker the void seemed to grow. The star itself was long extinguished, a cold husk floating in silence. Around it circled ruins, broken stations, shattered moons, drifting cities that once had glowed with silver light. The girl pressed her face to the glass, her eyes wide, her chest tight. This was Illyria? The human's voice was quiet. What remains of it? She could almost hear echoes through the void voices of her people. Laughter in streets that no longer existed. Songs sung under suns that no longer shone. Her heart ached. Tears burned her eyes. The ship descended toward a great structure carved into a dead world below. From above, it looked like a temple, half buried in black dust, its towers broken, but still reaching for a sun that had died long ago. Strange lines glowed faintly across its walls, the same pale blue as the mark on her arm. The girl's mark began to burn. She winced, clutching her arm. The human glanced at her. It calls to you. Her voice trembled. What's inside? Answers, he said simply. Then his eyes narrowed. And danger. The ship landed with a low hiss, dust swirling around its hull. The hatch opened and cold air swept in, sharp and dry. The girl stepped down the ramp slowly, her bare feet touching the ancient stone. She felt the ground vibrate beneath her, as if the world itself recognized her return. The human walked beside her, his eyes scanning the horizon. He moved like a soldier entering battle, calm, steady, but ready for war. Together they entered the ruins. Inside, the temple was vast, filled with pillars carved with glowing lines, walls painted with fading murals of stars and towers. The girl's mark glowed brighter with every step, guiding her deeper. At last, they reached a chamber. In its center stood a massive machine, ancient, silent, but alive with faint light. Its surface was smooth, flowing, like liquid metal frozen in time. The girl froze at the sight. Her breath caught. What is it? The human's eyes narrowed. An Illyrian core. A machine that can command fleets, control suns, reshape worlds. Her knees weakened. She stumbled back. No. I don't want this. I don't want to be part of this. But the mark on her arm pulsed hard, answering the machine. Light spread across its surface, awakening. The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The human grabbed her shoulders firmly. Listen, this is why you were hunted. This is why your people died. The galaxy will kill for this power. You must decide what to do with it. Her eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to do. Before he could answer, a sound thundered through the chamber. Engines, weapons. The ceiling shook as ships descended. Above. The hunters had found them. The girl screamed as explosions tore open the roof. Dust and light rained down. Hunter soldiers dropped from above, armored and armed, their red lights burning in the dark. At their center landed the massive Bloodclaw leader, his armor black and scarred, his voice like thunder. There she is, he roared. The last Illyrian, the key. Kill the human. Take the girl alive. The soldiers rushed forward. The human drew his weapon in a flash, a sleek blade glowing faintly blue. He moved like lightning, striking, parrying, cutting through the hunters. One by one, sparks filled the chamber. The girl stumbled back, clutching her arm as the mark burned brighter. The Bloodclaw leader laughed, raising his massive axe. You cannot win, human. She belongs to us. The human met his charge head-on. Metal clashed with metal, the sound shaking the chamber. Sparks lit the walls. The girl screamed, torn between fear and fury. The machine in the center of the room pulsed brighter, reacting to the chaos. Its light spread across the floor, reaching toward her. The mark on her arm blazed, and suddenly vision struck her mind. She saw her people standing in this very chamber long ago. She saw them arguing, shouting, terrified of their own power. She saw one woman, tall, silver-skinned, with the same glowing hair as hers, place a child in a pod. She whispered words the girl could barely hear. Live. Choose better than we did. The vision vanished. The girl gasped, tears streaming down her face. Mother. The human stumbled, struck by the Bloodclaw's axe. He fell to one knee. Blood on his face. The leader raised his weapon for the killing blow. The girl screamed, her mark blazing like a star. Stop! A wave of blue energy burst from her body, throwing every hunter against the walls. The leader staggered, roaring. In rage. The human shielded his eyes, but he was not thrown. The machine awakened fully, its towers rising, its voice echoing in the chamber. Illyrian blood detected, awaiting command. The girl's whole body shook. She looked at the machine, then at the human, then at the hunters trying to rise again. Her heart thundered. She realized this was the choice. She could touch the machine and command it. Awaken the Illyrian power. Armies, weapons, fleets, all under her will. She could destroy her enemies, rule or defend as she chose. Or she could destroy it, end it forever, and let her people's legacy die with her. Tears poured down her face. I don't know what to do, she cried. The human, bloodied but standing, looked at her with steady eyes. It is not about what I want, or what they want. It is about you. Who do you choose to be? The Bloodclaw leader roared, charging again. The hunters crawled to their feet. The machine pulsed louder. Her mark burned hotter, begging her to decide. The girl screamed. Torn in two. Power or peace? Legacy or freedom. At last she lifted her hand. The mark shone brighter than the stars. The hunters froze, blinded. The machine roared, waiting for her touch. The human's voice cut through the chaos one last time. Choose. Child of Illyria, choose. Her hand came down, the screen went black,